Hi everybody, once again, thank you for joining us here on yet another edition of Roundball Digest. My name is Connie Costanzo, and as always, joining us here in the WYLN studios are Fran Lubinati and Bruce Leib. Gentlemen, as always, thanks for joining us. Well, the District 2 playoffs right around the corner, really district playoffs for all of the districts will begin once District 2 gets around. And this time of the year, one bad game and you're done, despite what you would have done during the regular season.
Yeah, I think it's great for the Cougars this year because for one of the few times they're coming in and not having won the league. But I think the way Coach Live gets his teams prepared, he's probably looking forward to the tough one tonight. And then hopefully if things go the way he has planned, then he'll be looking forward to a couple of more games. But he always gets the team ready. I was just going to start off by asking him, playing a team for the first time, what you look for, Coach. You're looking at maybe the coaching tendencies, the record, the league. How do you prepare for a team that you've never played?
Well, we're kind of excited about playing somebody different for a change. Our district's grown. Used to be, there would be 4 teams in the district, 2 would go to state. That was a nice situation, and we usually capitalized on that situation. But now, there's 8 teams there. Williamsport's in there. It's more exciting. It's more competitive. Delaware Valley has a nice basketball team. We have seen them. They have 3 very good guards. The coach's son is a lefty point guard, this Holzer kid. He's a real nice player. They have a 6'7" kid in the lane who's very husky. They're a nice team. They have some athletic people, and we're excited about being in the tournament, and our kids will be ready, and I think it'll be a good ball game.
And it should be definitely one of the, I think it's going to be one of the better games that will be played, one of those 4-5 seeds. Anytime you get a 4-5 matchup, it should be a very good contest. Well, we have to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Hazleton area matchup with Delaware Valley. More here on Roundball Digest after this. Back here on Roundball Digest, thanks for joining us here on WYLN. Again, joining us here, Fran Lubinati and Bruce Leib. Well, Coach, you told us the past couple of weeks in the first round you would have liked to play a team that you hadn't seen before. Looks like your wish is granted.
Yes, definitely, Connie. And I think most coaches feel the same way. You look at the situation that John Quinn is in with Coughlin. They have to beat a team 3 times. We've been in that situation many times. We've been successful with it, but it's tough. It's not easy. Wyoming Valley West is a very good team. They're seeded 8th. I mean, if you want to talk about seedings, you were saying 4-5 is usually a good game. I would agree, but the circumstances this year, you probably have the odds-on favorite, Williamsport, let's face it, being seeded 6th. I mean, not taking nothing away from Coughlin, our league champion, but Williamsport comes in under different circumstances. They don't have a league to win. They have a real tough schedule, and they're the defending champs. So if somebody had to pick a winner, I think most people would probably go with Williamsport.
Well, let me ask you,
they're the 6th seed.
Let me ask you about the seeding of where Williamsport is. Do you think that Williamsport should be ranked higher? I know, I guess, sometime last week they reseeded Williamsport so that Williamsport would not meet the 1 seed. And right now, Williamsport will never meet the number 1 seed. They'll be at least a 2, or they'll be in a bracket, whereas the only way they play a 1 is in the final game.
No, I'm not so sure they should be, because I think Jim Davis, who's a great guy and a guy I have a lot of respect for, and his committee have a tough job there, because Williamsport isn't in the league. So then you have to weigh their schedule. Some of the teams they play are very talented. Others probably aren't. It's tough to weigh Williamsport. They'll probably never be a number 1 seed because they'll never win a league coming in, even if they're 24-0. Seeding them 6th, they are 18-6, I believe, something like that. I don't know how you go, are they using their overall record? I guess they have to be, because they won't use our overall record. They're only using our league records, the Lackawanna and Valley Conference team. So I don't know that they should be seeded as low as 6th, but I guess their record dictates that. And Jim Davis really, and his committee, I think, have done a fine job, and they always do.
Why not?
Yeah, I just want to say, Connie, the point that you made, is that the policy now where they cannot go against the 1 until it's the final? I mean,
I don't know if that's a policy that they want to come out and actually say, but like, they did say in the paper that they wanted to keep, I did read a quote that they wanted to keep Williamsport away from our number 1 seed. Right. I did read that, yes. Right. By putting them 6th instead of maybe fourth or whatever.
I'm wondering if that's just for this year, Coach. You're saying this is going to be something, a policy that might be determined for
I'm not sure. I think it's probably up to the committee, and I think if Jim Davis is there, hopefully he's there for a long, long time, I think that's probably going to be the policy. That's just a guess.
He does a great job.
Excellent job.
Let me ask you one more question, and then we'll start talking about the Warriors, about Williamsport. Why not then just assign certain games where you say, okay, Williamsport, these are going to be your games that we're going to include in your district record. If you win them all, okay, then you've got a perfect record, and they use a winning percentage. What about that option?
Well, I think they'd have to, but that's different than the situation. They're still not in a league. And what games do you add? They play like Altoona twice. You know, it's then they'll play Union City, and then they'll play like Shikellamy. I mean, they're all over the map. I don't think you could really come up with. You're either in a league or you're not in a league.
Right. Okay.
I actually was hoping that Williamsport would enter our league. If they're going to be in our district, let them be in our league and make it a stronger league. That's for sure.
Sure, that would make it.
I would welcome them in the league. I don't know how other people feel about that, but I would certainly welcome in our league, and would make it a much tougher league. And I think we have a tough league the way it is.
Hey, they're traveling here for football. You know, why not?
Yeah, I'm not sure why they're not in our league, but they should be. I had heard they didn't want to be in our league because they have the best of both worlds. They really, could just come into our district and play their independent schedule.
Right. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Delaware Valley. Speaking in general terms, what are their strong points?
I think their guards, a lot like our guards. They're mobile. They can shoot the ball, and they're quick. I think that's a strength right off the bat. They have a very fine point guard. He's a left-hander. Like I said, this kid's name's Holzer, and coach's son really can go both ways. Righty, lefty, shoots the ball well, passes it, sees the floor very well. So he's a key to the team. They have some very good shooters, Morgan, and this kid, I think his name's Spinella or Spinazza or something like that, number 21, shoots the ball very well. The big guy is not only, he's like a 6'7" Bargello from Nanticoke. He's got some meat to him, and they're a nice team.
How about defensively, Coach? What do they use it to do?
They're very multifaceted, Libby. They'll press, multifaceted, which would mean they move it around a little bit.
They do several things, Mr. Live.
Explain that over there.
Okay.
Actually, what they'll do is, after they score, they'll play one defense. After they miss, they'll play another. Their man-end zone. They pressure, they run, they love to push the ball. Should be an exciting game.
And that's with an M? M-U, okay.
There's probably a hyphen in there. But
I think there is. You talked a little bit about the fact, briefly, that they're a little bit of an up-tempo game. Up-tempo game for you, you'd like to keep it not up-tempo, slow the ball game down. When you go
Not necessarily. So that's erroneous. A lot of people think that we want to hold the ball, quote. That's not true. We look for good shots. And our kids will run with anybody if the numbers present themselves. And like we scored 72 points up at Pittston and still gave up, under 50 or whatever, around 50. So we can score if the numbers present themselves. We don't want to take a fast break if we're 2-on-4. They're not good numbers for us. But if we get a 2-on-1, a 3-on-2, we're going. And the kids know that. So we'll push the ball and then look for good shots. Mm-hmm. I think we've tried to coach our kids that, we're very picky about what a good shot is. And not that we want to have a kid out there saying, this isn't my shot. The kids know what shot is a good shot for them in reference to, the team we're playing.
And just in defending that, I don't think this year we were very tentative at all. You guys, you've given them the go-ahead, and they've been taking a lot of threes and normally shoot it with a great deal of confidence. I was wondering if there's somebody for our fans and our viewing audience that you might be able to compare Del Val to a team that maybe we saw either at home or you played against, or somebody that you might say, hey, the matchups at Nanticoke, this is Coughlin, Homing Valley West.
Yeah, they might resemble a Nanticoke. Probably don't shoot as well as a team. Nanticoke's a great shooting team, let's face it. They have 4 guys that can shoot the 3. These guys are close to that. Bigger, though. They're bigger, and, I like their point guard. Nanticoke's point guard did a nice job, a little smaller. This kid's like 5'11", 6 feet, and I think he makes them go. But it's tough to come up with a team. I haven't really thought about that. It's a good question, though.
Well, let me ask you, right before we go to break, this team that you're going to be facing, Delaware Valley, plays in what used to be the Northeast Athletic Conference. Now they're part of the Lackawanna League, but they go up against single A, double A, triple A teams. Your league schedule primarily, you got one double A, some triples, and quad A's. Not to take anything away from Delaware Valley, is that in your advantage that you're playing quad A teams for the most part during your regular season?
It depends. It depends how talented the quad A's are. I think our quad A's are talented. Coughlin, Pittston, Valley West, Crestwood, I guess, is 3A, Berwick 4A. They're talented, but that's not to say that Sacred Heart of Carbondale is just chopped liver, as they would say. They're a good team, even though they're single A. They play in the Lackawanna Northeast Conference,
yes,
from what I understand. Western Wayne, I understand, is a very good basketball team. So they play some good teams. I think our schedule's tougher, obviously. We played, Reading. We played Altoona. I don't think they play that caliber team in their exhibition schedule. I'm not sure, but I don't think they do. But that doesn't mean anything. What's important is what happens tonight.
That's right.
In this playoff game.
That's right. And by the way, Western Wayne's the #1 seed in AAA in District 2, so you're right, Western Wayne, an outstanding team. Well, we've got to take a break, but we'd like to remind you that if you don't have the opportunity to go to the game, you can see it on a same-day tape delay coverage, Delaware Valley and Hazleton area. Again, you will have time, by the way, to go to the game and then come home and watch it here on WYL at 9 o'clock. And then Friday night, girls high school basketball, same two teams, the girls playing Delaware Valley and the Lady Cougars. Hope you can join us for both games, and we'll come back and have more on Roundball Digest after this. And we are back here on Roundball Digest talking about the District 2 Quad A playoffs with both Fran Lubinati and Bruce Leib. We were talking a little bit about Delaware Valley, and I wanted to talk to you about Chris Holzer, one of the top scorers in the Lackawanna League Northeast Division. He is third in the league in scoring, second in free throw shooting, so a pretty good player, and Chris Holzer.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, he makes their team go. I think the other kid is Elfrick.
Derek Elfrick.
He's the the large young man, at least 6'7". He's averaging about 13.2. I get the same paper as Scranton Tribune as you do on Sundays.
Actually, the Scranton Tribune has been out of business for about 8 years
sorry,
now.
What's the Scranton Times?
This would be the Scranton Times that Bruce Leib is talking about. But go ahead.
Well, my roommate's father was editor of the Tribune years ago.
Go ahead, continue.
Anyway,
that's one of the few times I like that, Connie. Very good. Good move.
Caught the mistake.
Get the tail of the tape on soon, because there is no love loss here.
Apparently
I want everybody to know.
A little bit later on, we're going to be talking about the one-on-one matchup when I will be beating Bruce Leib in one-on-one
He did challenge me to that.
Of course, it's only going to be a 5-foot basket, but that's neither here nor there.
It's going to be a real short game.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned Elfrick and his size. What do you have to do against a big man like that? Can you play somebody like Elfrick one-on-one? Do you have to double team?
We have a 6'7" kid who's mobile, and Matt Tucker. He's more mobile than Elfrick. Elfrick's a little bigger size-wise. We match up with Delaware Valley very well. So once again, I think it's a good matchup. From what I've seen of Delaware Valley, we know they're a good team, and we're ready to go. It's an exciting time of the year.
I think they have to be very excited, too, playing against the program which you built at Hazleton and in Hazleton area. I think that, I know if I'm the coach of that squad, and these kids you just mentioned, they have to be really excited, because you're going against a quality coach, quality program, a team that for years has basically dominated the district. You get a shot at them. I think they have to be really up for this game.
I hope they don't get too excited, but a couple of years ago, Abington Heights got real excited and gave us a good licking, but we hope that doesn't happen this time.
Yeah, speaking of the Comets an outstanding team. They're playing Bishop Hannon tonight,
real
and
well.
they've played real well. Speaking of which, we've got some time now. Why don't we take a look at the District 2 Quad A playoffs that, of course, will begin on Thursday. And again, a little bit of problem right now with the teams in the Lackawanna League. Specifically, we talked about Abington Heights and Bishop Hannon. Wednesday night, both teams play for the overall championship. You get a look at the playoffs there. If, as you see, Honesdale and Abington Heights, if Abington Heights were to win Wednesday night, they're the 2 seed and they play Honesdale, and then Scranton is the 3 seed. If Abington Heights loses, then Honesdale will play Scranton, and Williamsport will play Abington Heights. But obviously the game that you would be looking at, other than your own coach, is the Wyoming Valley West Coughlin game, because if you were to win, you get the winner of that game.
Definitely, and of course, you know, we're looking forward to it. If we can get by Delaware Valley, we would love to play Coughlin again or Valley West.
Some pretty interesting matchups. I'd really like to see either the Williamsport-Scranton game or the Williamsport-Abington-Heights game. Anytime you get to watch a game coached by Jack Lyons, a Scranton coach, that's always an interesting part. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the place where you're playing. You're going to play at the CYC in Scranton. This is not a place where you've played in the last couple of years. To be honest with you, I don't remember the last time Hazleton area played a game at the CYC in Scranton.
Well, you're a young man, that's
yes,
why.
I am.
We played there several times, but...
Last being?
Oh, probably 90.
Okay.
I was going to say before the Hazleton area.
Yeah, definitely. 90, 91.
And that was continually. We used to go there.
We were there every year.
Every year.
From 85 to 91, sometimes twice. You know, we played the semifinals and the finals there.
There's some classic games up there too, Coach.
Yes.
Does it make a difference that the players now are going to be going and shooting at baskets that they're really not familiar with? At least last year's team, some of the players, if you went to Wilkes or Kings, you played there last year.
Yeah, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. In fact, well, this is a different group. This team hasn't played at St. Joe's. I was just going to say that Scranton CYC is like a larger version of the St. Joe's gym, but it shouldn't bother us. We've been to a lot of away courts. We've been at tournaments where we shot the ball very well, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Well, this is where I think that the fact you've mentioned you've played many teams away from home, you've hosted a tournament, you've played away, and I think that you've had all kinds of environments, whether the crowd's friendly generally or a little hostile, and I think that the kinds of gyms that you've played and you've scored, and I think that's what's great about the consistency. That I know that, you know, we score a lot of points, but you're also a very defensive-oriented coach, and I think the defense is your consistent. That's the one thing you know is going to be constant, and Connie brings up a good point with the baskets. Well, your defense is going to be there. You know how well we play, and I think that that's definitely going to be the determining factor as to who wins the ball game. So you come in with the one constant.
Well, yeah, we're capable of scoring a lot of points. We usually don't. We usually score 50s, but we can score in the 70s. I mean, it depends, obviously, how we're shooting and if we're pushing the ball and the numbers are there. But, you know, it's like anything else. I was watching Temple St. Joe's the other night, and Temple's they were down by 17 to my son's school, St. Joe's, and came back and won the game in the second half because of their defense. St. Joe's played great defense in the first half, and it looked like they were going to win the game down at the Apollo. It didn't happen. So who has a better matchup than John Chaney? Not too many people.
I want to ask you a little bit about the layoff. You haven't played since the game against Coughlin. How do you, first off, let me ask you two questions. Does it affect you? How do you continually make practice interesting, make it fun, because you haven't been able to play a game in what, maybe 10 days or so?
Yeah, we brought Jay Leno in
really?
to make it a little funny. Is that what you mean, or
something like anything to?
No,
you know, was that? I heard Don Rickles was there too.
Yeah, well, Don's a little bit older. Actually, we just work him hard, Conio, and the practices aren't any more or less difficult or entertaining. That's for sure. We just work them hard. In fact, we had a practice the other day where we really worked the kids hard. We went back to like a preseason practice where we really got down to the fundamental work real fine, and I think our kids will be ready, and I don't think the strike will affect us at all. The former strike, actually, that's over now. People would ask me that. It's just not going to affect us.
Let me ask you one more question before we go to break. And Lib talked a little bit about this, the finality this time of year. You can have a great regular season, but right now, if everybody doesn't play well, the season's over with. Obviously, the players know about that. That's got to be awfully tough on a 15, 16-year-old.
Well, it's exciting, though. That's the part that's exciting. That's what you work all season for, to get into actually March. Now that the district has grown, it's February, and then we want to still want to get into March. To get into March, you're in the state playoffs like we were last year. That's the March Madness type deal, not only in college with the NCAA, but in high school basketball. And that's what we're looking for. We win 2 games, we're into March, and that's what we want to do. Get into the final again like we did last year, and we know it's not going to be an easy task, but that's the excitement of the game, I think, and the kids realize that.
Well, guys, we only have one more segment to go, and it should be an intriguing segment. We'll come back and wrap up this edition of Roundball Digest. After this, a reminder, though, a look at the district playoffs for the Quad A girls, and, of course, the Pittston The Hazleton area Delaware Valley game you can see here Friday night at 9 o'clock. We'll wrap up the show after this. And we are ready to wrap up this edition of Roundball Digest. For those of you who have not been watching us for the last couple of weeks, Bruce Leib and yours truly will be playing one-on-one. Yes, I challenged Bruce Leib to a one-on-one basketball game.
Why would I challenge
and we are
you?
going to take... No, I did challenge you, and he did accept. We're going to take a look at the... right now,
I was baited into it, but that's
Yeah, I
another
think
story.
it shows what happens, though, Coach. What happened, a lot of good-natured ribbing when we were not on camera, and it's incredible. It's now escalated into there is going to be a one-on-one confrontation.
Here's a
and
look.
Tyson and Holyfield have nothing on these two
There'll
guys.
be no biting of anyone, by the way, during this matchup. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape, so to speak, between Bruce Leib and yours truly, as you can tell. I have a bit of a...
This is a basketball game, remind me.
Bit of an age advantage, as you can tell, by almost 20 years. And the height advantage, obviously, and the weight advantage goes in the...
Coach looks
Bruce
intense,
is
Connie.
Bruce Leib. Well, so do I.
Intense. Now, I'm wondering who's going to officiate, and do you have a trainer that's going to be prepared?
Well, first off, we did ask if you wanted to officiate, and we probably do need to have any kind of some trainer, and of course, because of the age factor with Coach Leib, we may need to have some EMS people there as well, if that's okay with you,
I'm going to
Coach.
ask one
That's
thing.
fine.
Your strategy, you're going to try to run them, or you're going to try to bounce them back, get them low in the post?
Well, ironically, next week we are going to talk about our strategies for this one-on-one tournament. And by the way, highlights exclusively here on Roundball Digest, so we want you to
Shame
join
we
us.
couldn't have done this on Valentine's Day. Being a history teacher, it could have been another Valentine's Day massacre.
For you, maybe, but not for me.
It's a shame. We could have done it right on February 14th.
You didn't get much chance to... let's have the coach
No,
say
that's fine.
something now, because you
I'm going to
dominate.
let my play do the talking.
Okay.
And albeit roughhouse play,
We will see what
there
happens.
is no love lost here.
Apparently not.
This
One
young man has
comment.
been coming at me all year.
One
letting
comment
you
I
know.
want to say to Connie,
Okay.
there's a very thin line
Very
between courage and stupidity. And I'm wondering if you
Which
cross that
side?
line.
I'm closer to stupid than
No,
courageous.
somebody said he has a J. Somebody
Okay,
said he
that's
has
a
a
jumper from
mean
about 12
jumper.
to
If he
15.
does, I'm in trouble. I mean,
Well, listen,
Monty Tao was about his size.
That's right.
North
I'm
Carolina
going to
State.
be in trouble if I don't wrap up this edition of Roundball Digest. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend, everybody. For the entire crew, I'm Connie Costanzo. So long.